Hey guys, this was a very confusing ending. Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's me, Irvin, with the finale of Shounen Shoujo. This is a manga that I have been reviewing here for a while now. This is the end of Shounen Shoujo, and it's the review for chapter 15, but also the epilogue included, because I feel the epilogue was more important than chapter 15, to be honest. Before I continue, though, a few things. If you have not done so by now, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell button if you guys don't mind, and you'll be notified when I go live or when I upload videos. There is a giveaway happening right now on my channel, so make sure you go check it out and get yourself some free merch. Also, there's going to be a few videos being posted throughout this week, but some reaction videos will be late because I am going to be traveling. Lastly, there's a spoiler alert. I will talk about the chapter and then kind of talk about what I think it's all about, because it is kind of a confusing ending, as most of these are. So, anyways, first in chapter 15, first of all, the girl's already dead. The boy's watching a video of the girl when she was alive, and she asks him, what will you do if I told you if I had the secret to revive me or to bring me back to life? And the boy just shuts up the video and says, I don't want to know. And he just lives his last days like he was going to, and he dies. Like, he just straight up dies, and that's it. He is then not remembered, and actually he is remembered, but that's about it. He's remembered as the person that died. So that's really it. That's chapter 15. He dies. He says, what was his words? Let it be for the children, or something like that. And that's really it. The entire chapter is just showcasing an empty hospital, empty beds, empty room. That was their life. There was no special part to their death at all. And the epilogue is like 34 pages long. It's the longest epilogue I've actually read in my life for a manga. Typically, the last chapter is long, and the epilogue is like 4 pages. But they essentially explain a little bit of what the heck was going on. And I still don't understand everything, but I understand most of the things. So the boy and girl could never find out what their names were. I don't know if you noticed this. The reason it's called Shounen and Shoujo is because the girl and boy actually couldn't hear names. They couldn't hear all that stuff that was just so, to them, it was like very common, and the common things, it just wasn't good. They can only see individuality, and that bothered me. I always wondered, like, why won't they show their names? And this is why. In the epilogue, there's a little side story where a little girl catches the disease, and someone's talking to her and saying, you have that weird disease that is called the Yame disease. Like, what's that? And like, well, you can't see anything but individuality, but don't worry, there's a cure for it now. So they found a cure. Let's put that in your notes. And it's called Yame after the 2 people who had it. And she's like, 2 people. Apparently, they both had the same name, Yamai Sho. Now, I'm going to read off the manga. It says, for the little boy, his name, Sho, actually means live, but for girls, it means smile. So they actually had the same name, which is why they couldn't see, they couldn't hear each other's names, because it was not like an individual. It wasn't unique to them. So that was very interesting. The epilogue then moves until showing us the faces of all the other characters we never saw in the entire series. All the doctors, all the investigators, all the nurses, we see their faces. We see how they actually look for the first time ever. And we get an understanding of what they're looking for. Obviously, they were looking for some type of immortality, and they failed to that. And essentially, how they explain it is, when you're young, you're born with cells, and they multiply, but your cells have a limit of time until they die. So they say when you reach 12, you have a whole new, you start building a whole brand new form more cells, which is your puberty age. And you start forming completely different body, and that's why people say you're a different person from when you're a kid to when you're a teenager until an adult, right? So they were saying essentially their cells weren't going to multiply, so they died of old age. I don't understand that. We get a little drawings of them, or a manga panel of them as old people. I don't understand how they died like that. I don't know if that's how they looked or if that's just how they imagined it. But essentially, they're talking about how that is basically their death. That was just their destiny. They talk about how the different things happen in different ways, and the reason that he stopped seeing her, that she started being a blur to him towards the end of the manga, it is because he started liking her as a girl, and she just became a girl like anything else. Before she was special, she was unique, she was an individual, but then he started liking her in a way, like in a way of loving her, and she became I guess an individual, a common girl who was crazy for boys, which is how they explain how she died earlier, because she essentially healed herself from that disease and then had the guy kill her, or at least that's what she made him think that's what she did. So essentially she was doing this to grant the boy's wish and make him feel happy. So that's in a nutshell the entire thing. Obviously it's confusing. I felt like this was like it just kind of, I don't know. It felt like it was going somewhere, and then it felt like they just gave up on going somewhere, and they just stopped. I don't really understand what it all was, to be honest. And I think as of right now, I'm not even going to try to understand the ending more than what I understand it by now. So out of 10, I'm going to sadly put this one at 5.5. It had chapters that were interesting, but other chapters I remember me thinking, okay, this is just building up. This is just going up the hill, and then we didn't go anywhere. We just kind of were left with a lot of questions. They tried to explain it to us, but the explanation is not really a good explanation. It's just kind of like, well, we didn't get to do what we wanted to do, and they just died on us. That's it. They died on us, and that's basically all they have. And eventually they figured out a cure. How? God knows how, but they found a cure for it. So I just was very disappointed with the ending, and it's we were going up a hill, and then all of a sudden we're back in the floor going like, what happened? What is this? It wasn't a popular manga by no means. No one, I mean no one is talking about it on Twitter. I haven't heard anyone else but me read this one. I think Whaley is also reading it, or someone else was reading it. But other than that, I haven't heard of anyone else read this one, and I don't blame them. It's just a weird one. It's confusing. It has horror and psychological to it. Yes, it does, but it's done poorly. So that's why I'm going to give that one a low score of 5.5. Let me know in the comment section below if you've read this one or not, and if that's a fair rating. I know sometimes I rate a lot of stuff in the higher rating. This one is probably in the lower rating. I went over the 5 just because I did enjoy some chapters, and the premises was a good premises, at least at the beginning, and that's why I didn't go lower. I mean, if the premises would have been crap from the beginning, and if I would enjoy maybe just one chapter out of the 15 chapters, then I'd probably gone with a 3 or a 4. But to be honest, I did enjoy some chapters. I will say some chapters are pretty good, but a lot of them were just kind of things I remember from the series were the 2 kids who faked that they had the disease and ended up hanging themselves, and stuff like the boy and girl trying to kill each other. Oftentimes, like, all that was kind of neat, I guess, and interesting to see how they weren't actually dying, and they were healing themselves in the quick. So all that was, interesting in its own way. But other than that, that's about it. So, oh well, guys, let me know in the comment section if you like this or not. Comment, like, and share. Thank you guys for your love and support. And like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.